Hello everyone, my name's Jalise. This is JJ Movie TV Game Reviews everybody. And right now everyone, I'm going to give you my top 10 war films. Now, this is all modern, Vietnam, World War II. Any war films I have watched, I have been on this list. But these are my personal top 10. Now, here's the thing. I've seen The Dead Red Line with Sean Penn. I thought that was a pretty dang good film, but it didn't make the top 10. Another film that didn't make the top 10, well, two films. The Three Kings, that's directed by the guy who made Silverline's Playbook and American Hustle and the Fighter. Yeah, The Three Kings. Yeah, I watched the film. I think it was very good, but it's not my favorite. Another one is Apocalypse Now. Everyone loves Apocalypse Now. Everyone thinks it's the greatest war film of all time. To me, it's not the greatest war film of all time. To me, it's a good film. It's not the greatest thing in the world. I say it's very overrated. But that's another discussion video for another time why I think it's overrated. But for now, this is my top 10. Another thing, no Holocaust movies, so Schindler's List will not count. Yes, it takes place during World War II, but to me, Holocaust films like The Pianist and Schindler's List, or anything that deals with concentration camps or repulsive, I'm not even sure what to call it. Basically, when repressing of other, there you go, repression of cultures or other stuff like that. That's during war. That should not be on it. So that's gonna have to wait. This is war films. This that deals with actual war events, war stuff, action, guns blazing, that stuff. Actual war films. So let's get that straight. Alright, everyone, let's start with the top 10 right now. Number 10 is number 10, Courage Under Fire. Now, Courage Under Fire takes place during the Gulf War. This stars Denzel Washington, obviously, and Meg Ryan. Denzel Washington's character is basically, he's starting an investigation of why Meg Ryan's character, who is dead in this film, why she deserves the Medal of Honor. He's investigating these events, or led to her death, and it takes place during her time, so what she did and what she did to her with her soldiers, and the people who believe she deserves Medal of Honor. Now, when Denzel Washington is just doing this, he's also dealing with the facts that he killed one of his own men by accident in a tank. So he killed some of his own men. He's dealing with that fact, and not only is he dealing with that fact in war, he's also investigating the tragic death of Meg Ryan's character, who he gets different details. He says, oh, she did this, she did that. She was a coward, she was a leader, but there's different events. Lou Diamond Phillips is in this, Matt Damon is in this, and they all tell individual events, different events of what actually happened to Meg Ryan's character. So it's a great film. I like it. I enjoyed it. And it really does the repercussions of war, how when they come back and what they have to face with, especially when they killed their fellow soldiers. So yeah, Courage Under Fire, a pretty dang great film. It's number 10 on the list. Number 9 on the list is Stop Loss. Now, Stop Loss is a very underrated war film as well. This is a modern day war film. Basically, three soldiers from Iraq, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ryan Philippe, Channing Tatum. They all come back from war, and basically, they're all dealing with repercussions. It's called Stop Loss. Basically, since the soldiers are done with their contracts for going to war, the American government decides, no, we still need you for war. We still need you to go over there and do your job. Since not a lot of people are volunteering, they stop their contract right there and says, you have to go back, so you're stop lost. So Ryan Philippe's character, he's the only one that's clear-minded, but you can see that he's going through post-traumatic stress disorder. He starts to see bodies in the water, like in a pool area. He believes he needs saving somebody. Another thing, Channing Tatum's character believes he's in a trench and he's digging himself in his own backyard. He's starting to get abusive towards his wife. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character starts to drink a lot, and it has flashbacks of what happens during their times of war, and I thought this is a great film, very underrated. And it says right here, a defining movie about a new generation of heroes, our soldiers. So yeah, I think this is a very great film. Number 9, Stop Loss, Modern Times. Number 8 is Casualties of War. Casualties of War is such an amazing film. This is so dark. For the Vietnam War, we have, right here, hang on, Sean Penn's character and Michael J. Fox's character. Basically, this talks about the torture and rape, well, mostly just rape, of a Vietnamese woman who are taken by 5 U.S. soldiers, and 4 of them rape her. But one, Michael J. Fox's character, it doesn't rape her, and he tries to actually sneak her away and try to save her. And it talks about the killing of her, and how really is he doing the right thing by betraying his brother and trying to get them court-martialed and trying to create actual events. To actually just get them off the military, to let everyone know about this horrendous act that has been portrayed, and it really sees the violence of war. In this film, we see the violence of it, the brutality of the gruesomeness, and I love how Sean Penn's character was a character that we kind of liked at the beginning, but when his best friend died, he totally lost his humanity and just raped this poor girl, and it was just horrible. And it's actually based on true events, actually. So it's just awesome. The Casualties Award. It's a Vietnam War film. I loved it. I don't know why people don't like it more. But yeah, Casualties War. Check it out. Number 8 is We Were Soldiers. This is Mel Gibson. Takes place during the Vietnam War. And what I like about this film for so much is that it just doesn't show the American side of this. This also shows a little bit of the Vietnam side. For instance, we've realized that when we go to war with the soldiers, that these soldiers also have children. Vietnam people are fighting for a cause they to believe, like they just want the Americans out of their land. And you really see these soldiers, like for instance, a Vietnam soldier, he's writing in his journal to his wife, and he has a picture of his kid. Then you see him in battle and all that stuff. And when these characters die, it's so much hurtful and emotion. We also see how they train some of their soldiers just to go in the war, to not to care about the people who they're about to kill, because if you get too messed up, you get too close to them. And also, I like how Mel Gibson begins like, what happens if your commanding officer is shot? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And it's such a great war film. It's very underappreciated in my opinion. Very underappreciated Vietnam War film, but yeah, We Were Soldiers. I love it. I keep thinking it's called When We Were Soldiers, but We Were Soldiers is a great Vietnam War film. It's number 7 on the list. Number 6 on the list is a film. Hang on. This film is called Black Hawk Down. Now, Black Hawk Down, this takes place in Somalia. Basically, it's a military covert operation to get these terrorists that they deem necessary. And this is actually all based true events. And basically, it's just American Rangers and Delta Force Rangers. They get trapped. They get trapped. It's just an operation that gone terribly bad that will lead to ultimate destruction for most of the soldiers that are in this, and it's just a lot of death involved. This is how when things go terribly, terribly bad during American operations, and when it happens, when they almost band together, and that's why it's called Black Hawk Down, because when the helicopter falls down, it's all about the rescue and everything else, how about their failed mission, and what Americans have to go through when they're behind that, how they must unite in order to survive. So I like Black Hawk Down. It's number 6 on my list. I like Black Hawk Down. Number 5 on my list is a film that hardly anyone talks about. It's Defiance. This takes place during World War II. Daniel Craig's involved. This is about the Belsky brothers. They're basically Jewish civilians who are surviving during the Holocaust. When the Holocaust is happening, and when they're being hunted down, these band of brothers, right here, Jamie Bell, and I forgot this other guy's name, right here. But basically, they're all surviving brothers who survived the death of their family. And they're basically helping other people, not just Jews, but anyone they come across to survive during World War II. They're killing Nazis. They're basically like guerrilla fighters. And it's just a strong emotional impact of how they want to save their cultures, all that stuff, whether they're being Jewish, Slovakian, or something like that. They're just trying to keep their culture alive and trying to keep their humanity alive and not totally go into vengeance. Then we see these vengeance moments. It's just a great strength of humanity and hardship of one of the darkest times in human civilization. But my God, Defiance was an amazing film. I will go back to this 1,000 times. People should really check this out. Defiance is awesome. Sometimes the acting is on off, but Daniel Craig did an awesome performance. I love nearly everybody about this film. So yeah, Defiance is number 5 on my list. Check it out. World War II film. Number 4 is my favorite modern film of this age. Is none other than The Hurt Locker. Jeremy Renner, Anthony Mackie are awesome in this freaking film. It's about Jeremy Renner's character, who's basically a bomb expert. He's disarming bombs in Iraq. He's make sure they don't blow up, and he's such an adrenaline junkie right now that he needs to do this. This is the only thing he knows what to do, and the only thing he loves is to survive. And there's so many great moments of what they're going in Iraq. How some of the people who are basically like body bombs, what they do to kids. I never heard about that until I saw this film. Now I looked it up, and now there's so many horrific things what they do to their children. It's so fucking messed up. Also, there are some awesome scenes where they actually strap the guy with this metal plank and all these bombs in. They just kidnap them and put him on this They just put bombs on him, and it was just freaking horrific because this one innocent guy who never done a bad thing. The Americans just like, "Oh, we have to kill him, we have to kill him," and it's just interesting because the soldiers are instantly afraid of the people around in Iraq, but instantly it's just amazing. I just see like how the innocents are in Iraq and how just a couple bad people that just ruin everything for them, and how bombs and all this stuff is just ruining everything in the Iraq war. And sometimes what the Americans do, they talk about like, oh, why don't we just shoot them like that? It's getting so paranoid, and they're getting so paranoid and lost in this world that they are just thinking about, how do I survive tomorrow? How do I survive tomorrow? It just goes into that. How do I survive for the next days? And I love the Hurt Locker bomb. It's great. I just love the disarming of the bombs. There's so much tension and drill. It's awesome. The Hurt Locker is my favorite modern war film to this day. Is number 4 on the list, but not my favorite war film. Number 3 is a movie I just saw recently, and everyone says it was a classic. I didn't believe it because everyone says Apocalypse Now was great. I didn't find that film that great, but this film, Full Metal Jacket. The first hour is simply amazing. I love the drill sergeant, who was actually the drill sergeant in this one. He's just simply amazing because he was actually from the Vietnam War. He actually trained people like that. And how you see how they brainwash these soldiers just to kill. And it says born to kill right there. How they're trained to be born to kill. How they're trained to do all this stuff. Then we get this dark. Then we get the other half of this film where there's no longer training. They're actually in the Vietnam War. It's horrific too. Especially when they use like women, and sometimes when they use women sometimes as like sexual objects. How they're like, hey, sucky sucky, and they just say that like that for prostitutions, all that stuff. It's interesting. It's a new take. How the war is effectively changing all their minds, and how the war has shaped them into killers. They're not machines. They're not, okay, I'm going to do this. No, they're trained killers. And it's just such amazing. Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket is amazing. It's number 3 on my list. My second favorite Vietnam War film. It would have been my first, but I saw this film, the second one, way too many times. But this is my second favorite. Is none other than Platoon. This was the first Vietnam War movie I saw. This was the first war movie I ever saw. It's simply amazing. That's why I beat Stanley Kubrick's Vietnam film, Full Metal Jacket. But I like Platoon so much more. Willem Dafoe, Charlie Sheen. I had to get the other guys. Tom Berenger. My God, this whole thing of paranoia during the Vietnam War is just simply freaking amazing. How every single soldier is losing their mind. Doesn't glorify war. It says take the pain. You take the pain. It's so horrific and crazy and everything, and really just the split personality of like, not split personality, but it's like the splitting of two souls. Charlie Sheen's character is divided between two people, two of his leaders, played by Willem Dafoe and Tom Berenger, of what you want to be during the Vietnam. Who you want to be. Do you want someone who loses his entire mind during the Vietnam War, or someone who has his mind straight, but he still has a sense of duty, what's right and what's wrong. And this entire flick, that's just where the soldiers stand is all this, especially with the black community. This one, how they just say, I feel sorry, brothers, like, we're in a deep pile of shit. And there's just so many crazy moments of this movie that doesn't ever glorify war. You just see the lives of what these men is going through, and you can see how they're totally, slowly turning into something that they're not. Especially the new people, like Charlie Sheen's character, how they slowly turn into something that they're not, and how the old veterans are like, this is what it is. You either take it or you don't. And I love Platoon. Number 2 on my list. And my favorite war film of all time is still Saving Private Ryan. Steven Spielberg is a masterpiece. The events of D-Day, when this movie hit theaters, actual veterans fainted in the theaters because it was so realistic to the actual events of D-Day, what happens to them. This is so violent. This is so gory. And there's so many moments that you have to think, is one man worth it to risk all their lives over 8 people of this platoon, of this entire unit, to find one man, which is Saving Private Ryan? Will it ultimately make the difference of anything? And in some cases it does, and it really leaves a question: what have we done in this world? Am I a good man? What are the sacrifices you're willing to make? And I love Saving Private Ryan. The action is amazing. There's so many horrific things. I nearly cried and shuddered when one medic guy was dying and says, "Mama, Mama," and it's just horrific, and it's so realistic, and it just brings tears to your eyes. War, you should never glorify war, but these are my top 10 war films, and during the time of war, we get to see human beings change drastically, and it's such an amazing thing to see. Not in war, but the amazing thing of how people are slowly changed by this entire violence and everything. How people change for the better, how they change for worse, and how much they change if they like war or they don't like war. Now, let me know what y'all think, everyone. Subscribe if I disagree with me, not, but please let me know what other war films you think should be on this list. And if not, disagree with me on this. I want to hear your opinions, but be respectful for my opinions, and I'll be respectful for yours. Alright, everyone, my name's Elise. I'm signing off, everyone. You have a good day. You know what to do. Bye-bye.